What is going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another video. My last video I put up, I was saying thank you for 2,000 subscribers. Now we're already almost to 3,000. You guys have been blowing it up. I appreciate it more than you guys know. I really want to get to 10,000. That would be super cool. Most of you guys watching aren't even subscribed yet, so if everybody dropped a sub, we'd hit the 10,000 mark. It doesn't cost you guys anything and helps me out a ton. As far as the update for the Husky, I have some parts coming in the mail. I have a fuel dongle from Rottweiler Performance coming, so that'll help a ton with the throttle response in that. I also have the 15-tooth sprocket coming, so that'll go on as soon as everything's broken in. I want to give it a fair comparison, but that stuff is on the way. As well as the PC build. My last part for the PC build should be here Friday, tomorrow. So the PC build will most likely go up in the next day or two. Also, check this out, guys. Looks pretty nice next to each other. So this isn't a new bike. My dad had the 1190R and he just sold it. And the guy who bought his 1190 ended up having to leave his bike here. So this is the guy who bought my dad's 1190. Sure is a clean looking bike. Look at all the carbon accents and stuff. It's really cool to see it next to the 701. I'll gear up and we'll jump on the 701 and get into today's video.
But yeah guys, sorry for such a long time since the last upload. I have a really bad addiction to caffeine, like where I get awful withdrawals when I don't have my coffee. So I went cold turkey on coffee and just have been having like awful migraines every single day. But I think I'm on like day 6 or 7 now, and I think I'm finally starting to feel better. Man, I missed this bike. Haven't rode in like 6 days. But yeah, so for today's video, I wanted to talk about how elevation affects bikes. If you guys follow me from TikTok, you know I used to live in Colorado, so I rode bikes at that high altitude for a while, and then I moved to California about a year ago. So I've had experience riding bikes at sea level versus mile high, so I kind of got to see the whole variety. I really like how the bike looks without the mirrors, but it's so annoying having to look over my shoulder every once in a while. So I've had a ton of experience. I've ridden street bikes in both places, I've ridden dirt bikes, I've ridden supermotos, so I can kind of have a general understanding of how bad elevation affects it. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. There's how it affects power on fuel injected versus carbureted bikes, and then there's another thing I want to talk about that I don't really see anyone else mention. It's so freeing to be on a motorcycle when there's traffic. We're heading to the canyon with some pups. Go have some fun. Feels good to be back on a bike, that's for sure. Alright, so first we'll talk about how it affects power. With a carbureted bike versus a fuel injected bike, obviously there's going to be big differences to how altitude affects it, because like this bike auto-tunes itself for the air pressure. That's one of the reasons it's so nice to have a fuel injected bike. Starting with carbureted, I rode my carbureted FCR 600 from Colorado to California 22 hours straight. That bike was such a dramatic difference that I ended up having to sell it when I got back to Colorado, because I was that bored of the power. After feeling how much power it had at sea level, I couldn't ever ride it again because it was just so boringly slow. Because so in Colorado, that bike, it would wheelie first gear if I gave it a really heavy clutch dump, like almost a red line clutch dump. And then second gear, no way. Like even going over a hill, giving it gas with a rep bomb clutch dump, it would not get up second gear to save its life. At sea level, that bike the front tire would walk up on me accelerating in first gear, which is just like, that's like leader bike stuff, but that bike was doing that at sea level. So carbureted bike, massive difference. It went from like being a like kind of unmanageable full throttle acceleration to like an absolute scooter. So as far as fuel injected bikes go, it wasn't, I had a CBR 954 in Colorado and I had one in California, and it wasn't really a massive difference. It's not like you're like, oh my god, it's a different bike. It's definitely a little bit more torquey, little bit faster, but like I said, nothing that makes or breaks a bike. That's not the biggest thing I noticed with the 954. The biggest thing I noticed with the 954 is the next thing I want to talk about. And that's, I noticed this with all the bikes I've ridden at sea level versus altitude. This is a really fun road. idea where my RPMs are. It's so annoying. The wind noise combined with the helmet, you just have no idea what's going on. Oh yeah. This is where this bike's meant to shine. Like my last Supermoto was fun, but this thing is just like, it's so easy to ride fast. Altitude is power, which we already went over, and then wind resistance. That's something that I haven't really heard anyone else talk about, but it's a huge deal. My 954 in Colorado was much faster. Whoa. I think I avoided him. There was a little lizard in the road. My CBR 954 was much faster in Colorado at highway speed. When you're already doing 60, 70 and you want to pull, it was significantly faster. In California here, the bikes are much faster at low speeds, but when you get up into the high speeds, the wind resistance is a big deal. There's so much elevation change on this road. It's so much fun. I'm curious to see how well the GoPro's doing with the shadows too. But yeah, so that's another thing you don't really think about. The wind resistance is crazy. Like, I mean, really noticeable, like more than you notice the power change. You're really having to push through some serious winds down here at sea level. Like on a, especially on like a moto, when you're on the highway on a moto, it feels just brutal. Compared to, it used to be, you know, 50, 60, you really wouldn't even notice the wind in Colorado. Down here, it's like, if you're doing 90 on the highway, the wind is really beating you up. This thing's angry. The fuel dongle is really supposed to help with, they're really leaned out at 20% throttle and under 5,000 RPM. So the fuel dongle should really help with that. That felt like it was gonna rip my head off. I've never gone that fast in a moto helmet. God. It literally was like pulling my helmet off my head and choking me with the chin strap. If you guys have ever ridden a dirt bike, you know that those speeds on a dirt bike are absolutely insane. A moto should not be able to do those speeds. Zero wind protection, literally just like, it's like you're running that fast. Like you literally have nothing to protect you. Like I have headphones in and that, it just ripped my headphones out when the helmet twisted up. More than halfway broken in, guys. I'm getting there. Finally, now that I'm off my coffee headaches, I think I'll be able to, I'll hopefully try to get out and do a few couple 100-mile rides in the next couple of days. Get it broken in ASAP.
That's right.
Thank you.
So sick.
Thank you. That's kind of my impressions on altitude. Like I said, if you're on a fuel-injected bike, really doesn't change much. Only thing you're going to notice is the wind resistance.